All right, everyone. For those who think, of course, like, oh, Fox is Trump's ally, they're good to him and stuff. Hold it right there. They're still neocons, and I've warned of this. And now you see it firsthand. They're inviting a bunch of neocons up onto Fox, like tweeting it out and shit, and saying, oh, well, we need to go hard against North Korea. We need to not even have negotiations until we get our prisoners back. That's not exactly how negotiations work. You can make that demand. What happens if they say no? Do you just walk away? Trump has, by the way, spoken of needing to have the ability to do so, but I'm sure he'd rather go in, be somewhat conciliatory, because he's already set the stage for good negotiations. He's already done the bad cop routine with them, the hey, I'm fucking crazy routine. The only thing preventing me from killing all of you people is the fact that my advisors take advantage of my dementia to sign off on my policy and change it around. Otherwise, I already would have nuked Pyongyang. He's already convinced people around the world that that's how he operates, I think. I think that's roughly what he's trying to go for. Now he can go in and disarm them by being conciliatory. I'm sure they're already slightly confused. They're like, well, Donald, all of a sudden, he's very, very gracious now that we've sort of stepped back the rhetoric. Maybe we can get somewhere if we step it back even more. There's a good chance that they're going to offer those American prisoners to us anyway, and Trump has already said, nothing's going to get accomplished unless we get our prisoners back. That's the U.S. demand. Everything other than that is primarily South Korea's negotiating through China in parts with the DPRK. They're the ones that have to reunify. It has nothing to do. China and the U.S. are the main powers that are sort of behind the scenes, and then this two sides of Korea are sort of the ones that have to reunify. That's the actual chessboard involved. But it's something that at this point, China's not entirely averse to the idea anymore of reunification. China really was preventing that. By propping up North Korea, you can prevent reunification. By saying, okay, the gig is up, basically, something needs to give here, you get at least a little bit closer. There will be, by the way, though, if the neocons have their way, no reunification. There will be just continued struggle because they make money off of it. Ultimately, to them, it's just a money game. Trump probably doesn't give a damn because he doesn't need money. That could be a really good thing, I think, for this situation. But if the neocons have their way, and the neoliberals want him to fail, like CNN the other day, oh, well, Trump's going to get a headache, it's not going to go well for him, he's going to look stupid, basically, because they're always doomsaying. They want him to fail. They honestly, at this point, I think they wish that there was a Great Depression going on just so they could say, told you so, and they could clickbait some more. They wouldn't affect them. They'd still have seven-figure salaries. They don't give a fuck. But that's the sort of scum that's been leading our nation now for half a century. Yeah, they're all scumbags, so see, there's the problem. But the Warhawks want him to basically sabotage the entire negotiation because they're so pro-war. They just want to go in guns blazing and get their heart on without having to take a little blue pill. That's what it's about with these usually geriatric old Warhawks. They want to go in there, they want more scenes of slaughter, and they want to make money doing it because it's a cash cow. War is a cash cow in a proxy conflict or a stalemate in which you've got a nuclear question on the table. That's almost as lucrative, so they're certainly willing to deal with that shitty status quo. The problem is it affects real lives within North Korea and South Korea. If there were reunification, some millions of North Koreans would be open to the wider world. They wouldn't hopefully be starving and screwed up like they are in North Korea. South Koreans would get to see family members again that the Kim Jong-un regime has prevented them from seeing for half a century. The United States would be safer. There would no longer be a significant adversary with hydrogen weapons sitting there on the edge of Asia. The Chinese would benefit. They would no longer have the diplomatic dead weight of having to prop a literal communist regime up because, China is actually somewhat hyper-capitalistic in some parts. They have a partition mixed economy, They're not fully communist anymore. There's certainly central planning, but there's also an investor class. It's pure capitalism. And it vastly, by the way, outperforms the centrally planned ventures of the state, which is why they've been steadily moving towards more hyper-capitalistic and away from the socialist side, because it doesn't make sense. You can have redistribution, but you have to have that capitalist portion of the economy. It's actually an interesting model. Within North Korea, there's the claim that now that there's a sort of semi-underground market economy, that is, capitalism has seeped into the country. It's officially banned, but the Kim Jong-un regime doesn't really enforce that fully because it realizes, hey, If we don't, people will starve and they will begin to die. That would be a little bit of a problem. That way people have more of a profit motive, at least in some aspects and areas now, which is propping the regime up. That shows an openness that you never would have gotten that under Kim Il-sung. Kim Il-sung would have fucking chopped your ears off, then chopped your hands off, and then sent you to go work in the rock mine with picks attached to your arms, duct taped cheaply on. And then if they break, you have to make your own using nothing more than your fucking feet and your teeth to hammer out a new chisel. That's basically how Kim Il-sung worked. And then his son, Kim Jong-il, was, arguably a little bit less monstrous in some ways, but he was the nuclear dear leader. And then Kim Jong-un, his son, baby Kim, he's actually moving the country, it seems, in a slightly different direction. I think that there is hope that he's a little bit different than his dad and his grandpa, but we can't go in operating from that perspective. We have to assume that he's going to be hard line. So Trump has to do the same thing. He's laid the groundwork for that, but now is not the time to say, oh, we're not even going to meet with you unless we get our prisoners back. You will sabotage negotiations. It'll be seen as dishonorable. It would be seen as dishonorable if Trump were to say at the last minute, oh, by the way, I'm not even going to show up unless we get X, Y, and Z. It's not going to happen. They don't have to give those prisoners up. But they probably will if Trump goes and shakes Kim Jong-un's hand and says, hey, I don't really want to nuke you, but I'm a big, strong, powerful leader. Now you can be a big, strong, powerful leader of a country that's free too. It's not like we're going to take away all your caviar and your vodka or anything. Just play nice with the other children and nobody gets hurt. China's not gonna protect them. China's gonna be there insisting, hey, that Trump dude's really crazy. You might want to listen to him because there's nothing we can do. We're not gonna, we already lost on the tariff war, basically. What the fuck are we supposed to do? We can't belly up to the bar and outdrink the United States economically, so we're gonna have a little bit of a problem if you don't play nice. I think that's what's going to happen, but the Warhawks and the neoliberals both want to scramble this. They will do anything in their power to create a problem as negotiations are ongoing, and Trump needs to be very careful which diplomats he decides to go with, because he's got to make sure that they're loyal to his bottom line, that they're not going to pull a McCain or a John Kerry or Hillary Clinton a la Libya and Gaddafi or something like that. He needs to be careful because these people want perpetual warmongering. At the very least, they want perpetual bad relationships in certain parts of the world so that they can make more money. That's ultimately what it's about. It's the almighty dollar. It's not the petrodollar, it's the war dollar. It's the aircraft carrier dollar, the we have more nukes than you dollar. The our missiles can hit a fucking dime dollar. That's ultimately what it's about. We're the guarantor of the world economy because we have all the weapons, because we have the projective capability nobody else has. Who else has it? France, Italy, I think, has 2 aircraft carriers. Okay, they're ahead of most of the world. Is Italy the world power? It's certainly not Russia. Russia can nuke any country that it wants, but it can't occupy a country very easily unless it shares a land border. China's too busy building things right now. They don't care about war, other than maybe over the Spratlys. By the way, reunification of Korea would be a stepping stone that would allow us to largely ignore the Spratly build-up. And all of these other countries would be safer too, because we would have a better presence in the region. It's good for the U.S. It's certainly good for China. It takes that diplomatic question off the table for them, and it's great for Korea. It's like, hey, hi, Grandma, I haven't seen you in 40 years, since the last time I was allowed a visit in the Peace Village for 10 minutes, and I got to shake your hand across the border. Wow, what a time that... I was worried the North Koreans were going to grab me and haul me over and enslave me for being a traitor to the legitimate dear leader or something. That's about all. Peace out.